What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3. I'm going to use this episode as a look at the various Valorplates, also a bit more of the combat. I have played on quite a bit to try and progress a bit faster. We have made it to a boss, which I will try and beat at the end of the episode after having a look at all of the Valorplates. So, first up here we have Armistice. He gets 10% increased breach damage. His Archon Fury activation is unleash a shockwave that breaches nearby enemies to deal up to 3 physical damage. During Archon's Fury, increased damage to breached enemies, takedown damage, and 50% whenever you defeat a breached enemy, defeats an enemy with a takedown. And that stacks up, so he can get increased 50%, increased 50%, increased 50%. Next up, we have TYPHON. Summon 3 Water Sentinels. 10% increased chance to inflict chill. 90% chance to inflict chill during Archon Fury, and 100% increased damage to shot enemies. Your attacks deal water damage. So that changes your attack type to water. Or adds it, I'm not exactly sure. Then we have GREYHAWK, whom I'm playing as now. 10% Soul Shatter build-up, that's why I picked him. Archon Fury activation effect unleashes a shockwave that applies 30 Soul Shatter build-up to nearby enemies. So that applies 30 damage, Soul Shatter damage to all the enemies around you. And then 100% increased Soul Shatter buildup, unleash a shockwave that applies 30 Soul Shatter buildup to nearby enemies whenever you use Soul Shatter an enemy. Anyone who doesn't know what Soul Shatter is just watching this to find out more about the Valorplates themselves. When you attack an enemy with a, I'm going to call it a normal or light attack, there is a bar that builds up over the health bar, and then when you use your heavy attack, it triggers that bar to shatter its soul, essentially, for that amount of damage. So you can use it as a finisher, or just a way to interrupt some attacks. Next up, we have Phoenix, also a Valorplate, the first one that you're forced to unlock by the game. 10% chance to ignite, unleash shockwave that deals 35 damage in her Archon Fury, and then during Archon's Fury she gains increased chance to inflict and 100% increased damage to ignited enemies. And your attack also switch to fire damage. Here we have BULWARK. Summon 3 physical sentimentals. Interesting. Sentinels. 90% increased chance to inflict bleed, 9 or 100% damage to bleeding enemies. Your attacks deal physical type damage and increased chance to bleed. Now, just a quick example of what you could possibly do with that Valorplate, just a bit on the builds you could do, is the legendary sword we have here, 0. Whenever you inflict bleed, shoot up to 2 projectiles that deal 140 physical damage to an enemy. So you could possibly use that and this legendary weapon's primary effect to have quite a nice little build going. And over here we have MOEBIUS, one of the cooler. They all look awesome, but I just love the faces. She just looks mad as fuck. Anyway, there's a more metal looking one that I'll get to. Plus 10% chance to inflict curse. Summon 3 Void Sentinels. During Archon Fury, 90% increased damage. 90% increased chance to inflict curse. 100% damage to cursed enemies. Your attacks deal void damage. So here we get another ailment of curse. Here we have Vertigo. Vertigo has a 10% chance to inflict shock damage, unleashing a shockwave that deals 91 air damage on Archon activation, and then 90% increased shock, and 100% damage to shocked, and then your attacks deal air damage. Vertigo looks pretty cool. I call him Mothman. Over here we have Rhino, also known as AEGISHORN. Call forth 3 Spirit Warriors to aid you. You take 5% less damage, but this is the good one. You and your nearby allies take 30% less damage while Archon Fury is active. Whenever you hit, shoot 3 projectiles that deal 60 damage to nearby enemies. That could be incredibly strong as a support Valorplate for your 3-man party. 15% increased weak point damage. Archon Fury activation effect, unleash a shockwave that deals... Oh, I'm actually in the way here. Shut them up here. Boop. I will hide myself in that corner. It'll cut off some of the character, but that's fine. Anyway, unleash a shockwave that deals 3% physical damage and reveals enemy weak points. Unleash a shockwave that every 3 seconds deals 3 physical damage and reveals enemies weak points. 40% weak point damage, 40% weak point damage when you perform a death blow. So she sounds a bit more assassin roguish. Then we have Hinterclaw. 5% increased critical damage, 3 Spirit Warriors, during Archon's Fury, increased hit chance, and 50% increased hit damage when you defeat an enemy to a max stack of 150%. That's insane. If you can chain that many enemies together. Okay, Mesa, the most metal looking Valorplate here. 10% increase, 10% chance to inflict poison. On her activation, unleashes 91 earth damage wave, and then increased chance to inflict poison and increased damage to the poisoned enemies. Your attacks deal earth damage. And then we have Silvermane, the I almost said Warframe. The Valorplate you start with 10% weapon technique charge speed, shield charge speed, and polarity attack charge speed. Call for 3 Spirit Warriors to aid you in battle. During his Archon's Fury, 300% increased weapon technique charge speed, shield charge speed, and polarity attack charge speed. 30% increased damage when you defeat an enemy with a weapon technique, shield, or polarity attack. Then, the other side of the Valorplates themselves is if we close this window somehow. There we go. Augments. Now these 10, level 10, and up. And the max level is 50. I think it's this one for him. Each one of them have an affinity. I'm not exactly sure if you can only slot a augment in that the affinity fits, or if you get a bonus for slotting in the correct one. We'll figure that out as we go. But yeah, so that's how you augment them as well. And then augments themselves are these. No, that's amulets. There we go. Are these. Whenever you parry an enemy, gain 60 over health. 20% weapon technique charge speed when you hit a every 10 seconds when you hit a weak point, and then consecutive enemies hit by a shield take additional damage. So these are all. That's kind of the overview of how you can possibly build your character and what you can possibly do with each of the various Valorplates. Now, some of them, the ones that follow this archetype of Unleash Earth damage, increase 10% of their type of poison, and then just poison, damage to poison, and because it's her that does that. I believe it is also all of these that follow this. No, she's different. All of the Valorplates that follow that, this base, just I would call it a boring setup. They even, oh crap, that's fine. Even Phoenix and even Hawk here. They also follows the Soul Shatter build up, blah blah blah. Now I think all of those might be just stepping stones until you can afford the ones like AEGISHORN over here and Crit Chance Boy and Illumina. I think they might just be kind of placeholders for what you can until you get those, because they just seem substantially better than these just steady units. Alright, what I wanted to show you guys here is how the upgrade system works. If we pick 0 here, you see that we can salvage for Sunsteel, Dragonsteel, or Electrum. To upgrade will cost us Electrum and Sunsteel. So now if we click there, if we click here, sorry, then you see it increases with 2. That's literally the only stat that changes, that it increases with 2. I don't know, maybe over here you'll get some of the primary and secondary stats to increase as well. But for 2 damage, it's not worth sacrificing all of those resources. But the nice thing is, let's even take one of these brown ones. If we upgrade this guy here. Okay, let's do it. And let's do it again. I'm just curious. I did not be upgraded further. Bugger off, I'm trying to figure something out here. Not this one. Okay. Oh, well, let's salvage it, just because I couldn't actually do what I wanted to show you this. So we take this ring, you can enchant it as well. Now, if you do fulfill these enchant costs, what you can do is upgrade it a rarity level, essentially, which does give it a massive stat upgrade and also a secondary trait. and sometimes it also increases the primary trait. So I think that's going to be the main way that you will increase the statistics on the weapons themselves and on the almost said attachments, the amulets and charms and rings and lifestones. That's how you're going to create more of a unique build around those specific items, and how you're going to craft to upgrade them. Because if you look at just upgrading something that's already maxed, you don't really get much out of it. But I could possibly take, let's say, where's my dual swords that I'm actually using right now? Here. If we take them, now we can't afford to enchant them, but if we take them and we enchant them, they end up doing more damage than our legendary sword is doing right now, because they are a higher item level. Good lord, that is annoying. I mean, you require level 1 for the sword. So I think there are situations in which you would rather enchant than upgrade. Anyways, guys, that was just a quick overview look at what the game has to offer, Valorplate wise, weapon wise, crafting wise so far. Obviously there'll be more, and we'll see more of how the end game unfolds when I eventually get there, which I'm having difficulty with all the crashing and recordings just not actually working. And frame issues, although the settings have been dropped, and frame issues, although the quality in OBS has been dropped. And then the next day I pump it back up to maximum and everything runs fine and everything records fine. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, a quick overview of what the game will have to offer. I will keep playing and keep trying to record to get you guys a third episode as quickly as I can. In any case, thank you for watching, and I hope that helps answer some of your questions about the game and build and the variety that might possibly happen in the builds. For more info, just stay tuned. I'm planning to make my way to endgame to figure that all out for you as soon as I can. In any case, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope this episode helped you guys out quite a bit. If you enjoy the content, check out the rest of the channel, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.